Hey everyone, I'm going to show you my 12 favorite books that I read this year. I read a lot of books, so getting it down to 12 was slightly challenging, but I have 6 nonfiction and 6 fiction. There is a link in the description below where I have all of these together in one place if you're interested in them. In no particular order, let's start with the nonfiction. Cal Newport put out Slow Productivity. One of the most important books I've ever read was Cal Newport's Deep Work. Slow Productivity builds off of that and was really impactful to me. It's all about doing things slower and actually getting more done by doing it that way. I wish everyone would read this in Deep Work. All right, next up is Non-Things. I'm not going to pronounce his name. I butcher it every time. I'm going to try. Byung-Chul Han, I think that's correct. This is a philosophy book about how things are disappearing and everything is becoming digital. It's a little hard to explain until you read it. It's a translated book, but it really impacted me. This is important to read or to think about or to put your mind in the headspace of realizing how valuable things are, tangible, touchable things in a digital world. Next up is The Idea Factory, Bell Labs, and the Great Age of American Innovation. I am working on a book about Electro-Harmonics, a company, and the founding designer for that company was a Bell Labs engineer. So I dove into this knowing that there would be all kinds of fascinating things about guitar through this company's history, and I was correct. This is a wonderful read. Anytime Malcolm Gladwell puts out a book, I'm going to love it. I think that's where I'm at. Love it or hate it, I've just turned into a fanboy. This is Revenge of the Tipping Point. This is him revisiting the tipping point for its anniversary and writing a whole new book from a new perspective. The chapter about Ivy League schools is worth the read. The Rise of Social Engineering. If you're into why things happen, who makes them happen, and what you should be aware of, it's phenomenal. Another author that I feel like will be on every year's list is Seth Godin. He is my all-time favorite marketing mind. He's such a clear, compassionate person, very intelligent, very well-read himself. The practice is about shipping creative work. So it's a book about how to actually produce and ship out creative work. Meaning, how do you make stuff and get it out there in the world? There's a whole segment in it on empathy that really changed me. My whole company is probably sick of hearing me talk about it, but it's been impactful to me and all of my teams at JHS. The most important nonfiction book I read this year was Essentialism. This is a game changer. I canceled an entire year of travel for this upcoming 2025. I restructured my entire work practice, and I can't say enough about this book. If you're a creative person, if you're a person who is high capacity, who can get a lot of things done, but you're finding your wheels spinning, Essentialism. All right, let's move over to fiction. Mitch Albom, this is The Stranger in the Lifeboat. This is really interesting. I thought I would hate this. I honestly thought I wouldn't like it even 3/4 through it. And then it grew on me, and I think it's amazing. It's a short read too. I think I read it in one day. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a novel by Mark Haddon. This is a book with a character in it that sheds a lot of understanding on autism. I found this beautiful, informative, moving, wonderful novel. I read another Steinbeck, To a God Unknown. Steinbeck's, he's the GOAT. I think he's the GOAT. So I love this. Another quick read. I have never read a Steinbeck I didn't like. Almost done here. A friend of mine released this book this year, and it can be tricky when friends release books. They might not be good, but you're supposed to say they're good. This is a great book. Tim Grawl, The Shithead. Hilarious, captivating, bring you to tears in certain parts. It is a amazing book that I don't know how to summarize. I would almost say it's just therapy. Yeah, in a very real way. It's therapy. I read my first Flannery O'Connor. I'm hooked. I love Southern fiction. I love everything Southern. And this is so, so good. A Good Man is Hard to Find. It's a collection of short stories. I might read it again. I read it in the summer and I saw it where I store my red books. I was like, I need to read that again. It was that good. And my favorite fiction of the year is once again Wendell Berry. This is Jayber Crow. This is part of his entire series or anthology about the town in Kentucky. Wendell Berry is the most underrated fiction writer I've ever read. This book is beautiful. Southern fiction. There's something about this, the way I was raised, where I'm from. This kind of stuff just gets me, and I can't recommend it enough. It's heartfelt, it's warming. It's just so good. I cried in this book. I cried in a lot of these books. Anyway, that's my top 12 favorite books. Oh, one bonus. Andy Squires, Poet Priest Volume 3. This is his groups of essays with photography. It's so cool. Andy is amazing. I highly suggest you check this out. I actually wrote the foreword. Right there. Foreword, Joshua Scott. In the description below, there is a link. You can click on that and find all of these books in there if you're interested in purchasing them. And also, in the comments, let me know your favorite book that you read this year. As you can tell, many of these are very old books. I'm not really concerned about the greatest books of 2024. I just like knowing what everyone's reading, and I just like sharing what I've discovered as this year passed by. So thanks so much for watching and have a great day.